Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
I'll say
morning.
good morning.
Good morning. I'm California Attorney General Rob Bonta. I'm joined here by the chair of the California Air Resources Board and our great Governor Gavin Newsom. And I want to say thank you all for being here to join us for today's announcement alongside Governor Newsom, the California Air Resources Board, and also a robust coalition of states and governments, a coalition of 25 attorneys general, one governor nationwide. We are challenging, governors nationwide. We're challenging the Trump administration's unlawful decision to roll back one of the most important climate protections in our country. And for those who are tracking and following, this marks our 63rd lawsuit against the Trump administration. 63 lawsuits in less than 63 weeks, so more than one a week. That is the rate and pace at which this administration is breaking the law. And at issue in today's case is the endangerment finding, the federal government's formal recognition that greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles contribute to climate change and harm public health. For 15 years, this finding has been the legal foundation for limiting pollution from cars and from trucks. It's grounded in science, it's been upheld by the courts, and it's been relied upon by administrations from both parties. And some would just refer to it as common sense. But now, President Donald Trump and his Environmental Protection Agency are trying to erase it entirely. So let's be clear about what this means. The federal government is attempting to overrule the science and do away with the protections that limit harmful pollution from vehicles, the largest source, by the way, of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. This isn't a small technical change. It's a sweeping decision that would increase pollution, worsen climate change, and put the health of millions of Americans at risk. And it's not based on any credible science, any data, any facts. That's not the language that the administration speaks in. It's not what they rely on. Instead, the administration attempted to rely on a deeply flawed process, including a so-called climate working group made up of a handful of climate deniers, climate contrarians, until the work of that group was widely criticized and ultimately abandoned. Their work was so thoroughly decimated in the press and the courts, in fact, that EPA's final endangerment finding rescission does not even rely on it or purport to rely on any science at all. Meanwhile, decades of scientific consensus and what we're all seeing with our own eyes, our own lived experiences, tell a very different story. We see it in the worsening wildfires that force families to flee their homes. We see it in the smoke-filled air that harms our children and our seniors. We see it in the worsening floods and ever more extreme weather that are becoming more frequent and more destructive. The science is clear and it's not partisan. Climate change is real and it's harming our communities right now. That's why today we're taking action. California is co-leading a coalition to challenge the EPA's illegal rescission of the endangerment finding. It's straightforward. The EPA is ignoring its legal obligation under the Clean Air Act to regulate pollutants that endanger public health. It's defying clear precedent from the United States Supreme Court, which has already confirmed that greenhouse gases are an air pollutant subject to regulation under the Clean Air Act. And it's attempting to overturn decades of settled science with unsupported, discredited claims. This isn't how the law works, and it's not how science works. The endangerment finding wasn't created overnight. It was the result of years of rigorous scientific review backed by overwhelming evidence. Evidence that's only gotten stronger in the 15 years since. The EPA can't simply erase that reality because it's a politically inconvenient truth. So we'll see the Trump administration in court again. If allowed to stand, this decision would have serious consequences for Californians and communities throughout the country. It would increase pollution from vehicles, worsen air quality, and accelerate the climate crisis. It would put vulnerable communities, especially those already overburdened by environmental harms, at even greater risk. And it would undermine years of progress, disrupting industries, investments, and jobs tied to clean energy and innovation. This federal action threatens to move us backward at a time when we need to keep moving forward. In California, we'll continue to follow the science. We'll continue to hold the federal government accountable when it oversteps its authority. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with all of you, and I will circle back at the end for any questions, but let me turn it over now to California Air Resources Board Chair Lauren Sanchez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Let's call this what it is. The latest attempt by the Trump administration to deny decades of science and put millions of people at greater risk from harmful pollution and the worsening impacts of climate change. Today's announcement marks a pivotal moment for both public health and climate action in this country. Let me be clear. The recklessness repeal of the endangerment finding isn't just bad policy. It is a direct threat to the safety and well-being of every American. Denying the danger of climate change doesn't make the fires less destructive or the heat waves less deadly. Look at this week, a heat wave in March shattering records across the West. California will not stand by while this administration continues to dismantle critical public health protections. We're going to continue to fight back, and the next round begins today with this lawsuit. Protecting our communities from harmful pollution is not optional. It is a legal and a moral imperative. When Washington, D.C. steps away from its responsibility, California steps forward. And that's what we're doing today. Let me also be clear about this. California's long-standing authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions under AB 32 remains unchanged. At the California Air Resources Board, we are moving forward. We are driving forward with our climate programs. We remain firmly committed to protecting public health, improving air quality, and reducing pollution. Because we have proven time and time again that climate action and economic growth go hand in hand. Our policies have spurred innovation and shown global markets what is possible. From the catalytic converter to cleaner cars to battery storage, all while preventing thousands of premature deaths and saving Californians billions of dollars in avoided health costs. State-level climate policies are strong, they're durable, and they continue to deliver. The clean energy economy is not waiting for federal permission, and neither are we. Last year, we powered California, the world's fourth largest economy, on 100% clean energy, 279 days. Our message today is simple. Science matters, public health matters, the law still matters. And Californians deserve clean air and a climate-safe future. We will defend that future in the courts, in our policies, and in our continued leadership. Thank you. And with that, it's my great honor to introduce a fierce champion who takes a backseat to no one on the issue of protecting our state and its future, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thanks, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the Attorney General. Thank you to everybody that participated in organizing what is becoming increasingly familiar. We've been here before, but our action to try to shape the future and not be victims and bystanders to this assault on common sense, on science, on public health, and on lived reality. I continue to make this point. Republicans in the United States are debating thermometers. Hots are getting a lot hotter. 2024, the hottest in recorded history, the last decade between 2015 and 2025, the hottest decade in history. It's not, there's no Republican thermometer, there's no Democratic thermometer. If you don't believe in science, you got to believe your own eyes. Places, lifestyles, and tradition being quite literally wiped away. We saw that up in Paradise. We saw that in Grizzly Fats. We saw that in Greenville, California. You're seeing it all across the United States, all around the globe. That reality being shaped, as Lauren just said, here in California in the middle of winter, March, in this unprecedented heat wave. Go up to Lake Tahoe and see for yourself. Is this normal? Is there anything about this that's normal? And so what these guys are doing is they're supercharging the abnormality. More droughts, more floods, more simultaneous droughts and floods, more wildfires, more smog, more asthma, higher costs. Pollution is an act of theft. It's not complicated. Pollution, a subsidy. The polluter gets theirs. All the rest of you pay the price. Generations that pay the price. It's deficit spending. So this is not about science. Science didn't change. Just the administration changed. But as the Attorney General said, it's been decades in the making. 16 plus years. You can mark the Koch brothers and their industries. And, every week there's another opinion piece. My friends in the Wall Street Journal, just mouthpieces for big oil, special interests, getting theirs. As you're getting hit between the eyes. Experiencing it globally in real time. This is not the freedom agenda. We're all addicted. We're being played for suckers for decades and decades. California is about energy independence. We're about freedom from big oil, freedom from big manufactured global crises that we're in at a scale and scope we haven't been in our lifetimes, arguably. At the moment, played out in real time. That's what this fundamentally is about. Well-established science that they're not even trying to debate because they know they can't debate it. A Supreme Court decision in 2008, Massachusetts decision, codifying the legal right, building on the blocks that Lauren referenced, going back to the 1960s and the creation of her agency, the California Air Resources Board, by Ronald Reagan to address smog, to address pollution here in our state in Los Angeles. It was almost unlivable. That can happen again. That can happen again. They want to make pollution great again. That's what this is about. And all the while they get theirs. They get the buck. Or was it $1 billion? That's what Trump specifically asked of big oil in order to do this. He said it on tape. It wasn't hijacked by Sora. It's not an AI. It's what he said. He got his, and you're going to get yours. What do you say to the kids when you're reading those books and talk about the polar bears and you talk about ice sheets? What's Greenland about? It's about this. Why would it be like Greenland as it relates to strategic considerations, except we're losing our polar ice caps? You saw the numbers, data came out. Sea level rise faster than was anticipated. We've lived it here like no other state in the nation, but our state of mind's quite different. We, again, in the spirit of my opening remarks, have agency. We can shape the future with state agencies and with leadership. In the courts of public opinion as well, because the people of this state get it, and they're getting it done. Lauren referenced the number of consecutive days we've run this fourth largest economy on planet Earth on 100% green energy. We're not asserting a paradigm, we're proving a paradigm. Since 2000, we've reduced our greenhouse gas emissions 21% as we've grown our economy by 81%. 7 times more clean energy jobs than there are fossil fuel jobs. In this state, we dominate in low carbon green growth. It's all about innovation. It's not about electric power, it's about economic power. It's about supply chains. It's about statecraft. 28 jurisdictions we've engaged in partnerships around the globe, a quarter of the world's population connected to our state, because our state of mind is permanent. Trump is temporary. California is permanent. And so our mindset is fixed sustainably, not situationally, on the future, economically, health, and making sure we preserve Mother Nature's bounty, the thing that connects us to 10,000 generations, dare I say, to our Creator. That's what this is about. China gets it. 70% of the electric vehicle productions in the world coming out of China. I said it was about statecraft. I wasn't kidding. That's about locking in supply chains. It's about locking in influence. It's about locking in the tech stack in innovation. It's about innovation at the end of the day. It's about competitiveness. These guys are trying to pave over the old cow path. They want to recreate the 19th century. California is about the future. We're about transformation, not restoration, not nostalgia, not doubling down on stupid. They're the polluted heart of our economy right now. All of you paying the price because of dependence on oil. Things totally out of your control. Again, nothing about that represents the values of freedom. So forgive me the long-windedness. I didn't offer a soundbite, but a point of view, an expression that is well established and founded in facts, science, again, lived reality. And that expression has extended for a generation here in California that has led bipartisan leadership. Richard Nixon is rolling in his grave. It was the Clean Air Act itself that established this framework and guidelines. Since 2009, we recognize the obvious. Greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane are contributing in a deleterious way to our public health and the economic prosperity of this nation. Only Donald Trump and his big donors can see it differently. And so we're standing tall, we're standing firm. It's endangerment finding, I get it. 99% of people will see that on the news tonight and go, what the hell are they even talking about? Is the backbone of federal policy. And that's why we're going to fight it. And that's why I'm proud to be here with these remarkable champions to do just that. And as we've done in the past, we'll prevail, we'll win. Because one thing we know, we're here for the long haul. And we're here for generations that are counting on us. With that, we're here to answer any questions. Well, I mean, I think everything that's happening is only going to accelerate our progress. Every incentive in the world now is moving in this space. I mean, China's almost 53% of all their new car purchases are electric vehicles. We're being left in the dust. You saw what just happened up in Canada. Now it's entering the North American market. 49,000 vehicles, now 6% tariffs, not 100% tariffs. Right up there, right above Detroit. Donald Trump, thank you for that. Bringing in the technology, bringing in the innovation, low-cost cars. Now right on our border, threatening our entire automobile industry. It's happening in real time. The market is demanding that because people want something differently. And so I'll say this before Lauren gets up. In every single category, California has exceeded its environmental goals earlier than established time. 2.2 million electric vehicles right now. 201,000 public electric charging points. Significantly more than there are public gas nozzles in this state. Heat pumps, batteries, 17,000 megawatts of installed batteries, second only to China in our home state, up 21% since 2019 when we were at 770 megawatts. They didn't think that could be done. So in every category, we are excelling, including running this economy on roughly 2/3 clean energy, 100% for 26 days in a row, part of the day, 26 days in a row as of this morning. So we're moving. The rest of the world's moving. Question is, are we going to get cold feet because we're going to fall prey to the cynicism and the black heart of big coal, big oil, big gas that want us to further our dependence on things that are totally out of our control, that are now ubiquitous on our television and on our devices, playing out in this theater of the absurd globally, with now inflation starting to go back up, your gas prices through the roof, the economy not just slowing down, in retreat, 92,000 jobs last month. Across the spectrum, they're asking for $200 billion supplemental, which could provide 7 years of subsidies under Obamacare. All of a sudden, now they have the money? $200 billion supplemental? Connected to what issue? What's the whole Straits of Hormuz about? What is it fundamentally about? What's the issue there? The issue is oil. So I'm confident California can continue to accelerate its transition. And as you know, we recycle the investments that we're making back to consumers. $60 billion in rebates between now and 2045, $56 billion to be exact, for offsetting the costs and burdens for utility bills. That's part of the Cap and Invest program. Those dollars are all invested back into the community to address the anxieties and the dislocation that people feel as it relates to this transition. But you can talk more eloquently about it because you chair the board.
I thank you. All right. Thank you for those remarks, Governor. The only thing I would add, thank you for referencing the 2035 and 2045 goals. Those are state mandates. Those are law of the land that have been passed by bipartisan support in our legislature and signed by a long history of bipartisan governors. We talk about AB 32 a lot. This year is the 20th anniversary of a Republican governor signing into law our landmark climate policy. And to the governor's point, when that was signed, everyone said it'll ruin the economy. You can't possibly tackle pollution and not feel the impacts on the economy. And we have proven them wrong. We will continue to prove them wrong. Fast forward, Governor Brown authored an executive order on zero-emission vehicles, 2.5 million by 2025. And people said, there's no way that can happen. The innovation that was spurred from our policies, our regulations, our partnerships with automakers and with UC scientists, researchers, made that a reality. To the governor's point, not just here in California, where last year our high water mark, we are at 29% EV sales, but around the world. The IEA is projecting by the end of the decade, 40% EV sales of new cars. This is a global transformation that is happening. And as the governor said, our climate progress is economic progress. It's economic opportunity. And we want to make sure that California remains at the front of the pack and continues to deliver the progress and the benefits for all of our communities. Absolutely. And we were just, voted. There was a vote of confidence last year when the legislature passed a 2/3 supermajority bill extending that Cap and Invest program for the next 2 decades. We are now in a process at the Air Board of amending the program, balancing ambition and affordability. We remain very confident in our ability to engage with stakeholders who have been very vocal about their feedback on our staff proposal. We look forward to continuing those conversations. To your specific question on the 2035 goal, it was actually the state's 23rd lawsuit when we sued the feds for the unlawful use of the Congressional Review Act on California's waiver authority and the Advanced Clean Cars 2 program. We refer to that as the Jordan lawsuit because it was our 23rd. And that was a year ago. Talk about doubling down on stupid. We had a unlawful, reckless attack on California's very bread and butter of cleaning up the air, long-standing authority under the Clean Air Act that for 60 years has been the law of the land. For 60 years, we have been promulgating standards that are cost-effective, are feasible, and have transformed the economy and the world. So we will continue to do that while also fighting in court, and we remain confident in our ability to prevail on that issue. Oh, you can take that.
Oh, this is on you. Yeah, so to clarify, Assembly Bill 32, enacted into law in 2006, authorized the California Air Resources Board to regulate greenhouse gas emissions in state. That remains unchanged despite the federal attacks and the repeal of the endangerment findings. So we will continue to regulate that climate pollution in state. There are a number of impacts from the federal government essentially throwing in the towel on their own regulatory regime, whether it relates to vehicles or power plants or methane, as the governor was speaking to. So that's why we're really proud to be with this coalition of states that are going to continue to use all of our state power and authority to continue to tackle the sources of pollution. Governor, over to you. Yeah, no, and as I referenced yesterday, what Cesar represented was a movement, farm workers movement, the labor movement, and it's right to celebrate that movement. And so I'm certainly supportive of the direction that many are promoting, including members of the legislature, and we'll look forward to moving that along in an expeditious way.
Governor, new polling in the governor's race.
All right. Yeah.
Currently are in the lead to make it to the November ballot. I know you haven't wanted to weigh in on the race. Do you think there's a certain point where you will have to
We'll see.
ensure that the legacy that you built here
Yeah.
isn't
Well, that's not going to happen. I do not see that scenario taking shape as people now get more and more focused on what's about to appear on their ballot in a matter of weeks, a month and a half or so, just with the early voting. So I don't see that. But there's a scenario where we may want to weigh in. I have a lot of friends in the race, but right now I'm not there. Focused on backing this guy up with a 63rd lawsuit.
Mr. Governor, thank you for taking the time. And I appreciate what you said about the 99% of people who are going to watch evening news and might not know about the
Endangerment finding? Come in. That's going to bring ratings. A lot of ratings. Up next, the endangerment finding. Yes. In other news. Yeah. I didn't. Apparently I didn't, but you did. Well done. Yeah, make it. This guy's a lawyer. He can describe things with lawyerly, clarity. Yeah, well done.
Apparently, it's the Attorney General now.
We failed you, so it's Rob. You're the one that's put this in human terms.
How the everyday person might be impacted with the Trump administration stopping the endangerment.
There you go.
Yeah, sure. So we're going to see more greenhouse gas emissions as the federal government retreats or attempts to retreat from its role to regulate them appropriately. It's the biggest source of greenhouse gas emissions, so that means more extreme weather, more floods and fires and droughts. And for everyday people, consumers, it means higher costs. How? Utility costs will go up. Insurance costs will go up. Healthcare costs will go up because their health is being put at risk. So as we try to tackle the affordability crisis, this is yet another action by the Trump administration to increase unaffordability, to make things more expensive for Americans, from his unlawful tariffs, which we got struck down at the U.S. Supreme Court, and he issued new tariffs, which we believe are also unlawful, to dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, to his retreat from overseeing corporate consolidation, which can increase costs for consumers, to this. It is a theme. He is dead set, completely committed, so committed that he'll take illegal actions to raise costs for Americans. This is us saying we believe in protecting your health. We believe in protecting our planet. We believe in protecting your pocketbooks. So those are all the ways this can impact everyday people here in California. And we're standing with them, their health, their future, their environment, their planet, and their pocketbooks.
Well done. That's good. And just to reinforce, just generally, because I think it's an incredibly important point, climate risk is financial risk. It's becoming uninsurable. And Californians understand this. And there's cause and effect. You're seeing this not just in California, you see it all throughout the United States, particularly these Gulf states, that simply cannot afford the cost of insurance. Insurance companies leaving the market, not just here in California, but across the country because of hurricanes, because of these weather-related disasters. I think there was 27 of them last year for $1 billion cost each. We're paying the price, and we're going to pay a higher price because what this does is it supercharges the likelihood of even more climate-induced disasters in the medium and long term.
Last question.
Is there anything your administration can do in the short term to provide drivers some relief at the gas pump? Some people in the race that are suggesting a temporary regulatory moratorium to refineries running, a temporary suspension of gas tax. Obviously, these things come with other consequences, but is there anything that the state can do at the moment?
Yeah, we could continue to call out the President of the United States' recklessness. The President of the United States unilaterally today can stand down, admit his mistake, show some maturity, show a spine. This war is creeping into different theaters. You've got 2,200, 31st Division out there heading into the Middle East right now. Prospects of boots on the ground, at least in some of the islands off the coast of Iran, is becoming increasingly likely. You just hit a $39 trillion debt ceiling. It's the largest in U.S. history. I just gave you the economic numbers, the inflationary impacts. You saw what just happened to the natural gas facilities overseas, not just the oil facilities. What happened in Qatar. You saw the leaders in Qatar talk about $200 a barrel gas, not just $150 a barrel gas. That's the issue right now. That's the impediment. The issue we can control by continuing to call this out and continuing to be aggressive. As it relates to the gas tax, I'll direct you to some interesting reporting. What was done last time this was attempted in another state, particularly in Florida, where none of it was passed on. It was pocketed by big oil. So none of these things. I appreciate sound bites. I appreciate people trying to get a bite of the electorate. But a lot of these things, the consequences, unintended consequences, are self-evident to anyone that's been an expert in this. We're getting nothing in return for Trump's gas tax. Not a penny in return. That's just being pocketed by big oil. And you're paying the price. With the gas tax in California, you get better roads, you get better bridges, you get jobs in your community, you get infrastructure investment. It's in stark contrast. So Donald Trump is the driver of these spikes in the cost of gas and oil, not only here in California, across the United States. That's universally obvious, and it needs to be absorbed and accepted. It would be nice if the Republican Party would call out the leader of their party and call him to account and tell him to stand down and take some responsibility for the unintended consequences he's unleashed on the global economy, not just the people here in the state of California.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh,